Hi everyone, and welcome on my session around Eliminate Legacy Print Service with Microsoft Universal Print, new Microsoft 365 cloud service that can simplify how you do print management because you leverage a platform as a service solution in the cloud. So I'm going to explain you everything you need to know about that to simplify how you do that as part of your cloud managed desktop Windows Virtual Desktop environment. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Christiaan Brinkhoff. I work as a principal PM and a community lead at Microsoft at the Cloud Managed Desktops team. And if you want to stay connected with me after this session, you can look me up at Brinkhoff_C at Twitter and as well on LinkedIn by my first and last name. So I hope you were at the physical Disrupt event, but it was like Disrupt Workspaces, Cloud Workspaces back then, where we presented Windows Virtual Desktop, the masterclass in Nashville, and as well in Munich. It was a great time, had a great fun, and now we are sort of all working primarily from home and are sort of getting used to those virtual events. But I definitely hope that I can connect soon with you at a physical event, in the near future, hopefully. So let's get started with some fun. So do you remember this sound? This is the sound of a very, very old printer that reminds me from where we came from, right? So specifically this dot matrix printer, what's the sound that you heard? So you can think about, old printers, inkjet printers, laser printers, as well the situation where we're all in right now with the pandemic. You could ask yourself the question, do I still need to print? And the answer to that is, not so much, but you still have to print sometimes. And that's the reason why, simplifying the way how you manage your print server environment should be as low as possible, because you're not probably not using it that often anymore. So that's as well the reason why we created Universal Print, to simplify things that you did in a traditional manner in the past in a modern way while leveraging a cloud service. So think about as well the move from traditional VDI to Windows Virtual Desktop, as well as your traditional print service to Universal Print as part of a platform as a service solution. And that reminds me as well of the quote made by our CEO, Satya Nadella. Our industry does not respect tradition, it does respect innovation. And that reminds me as well to the topic of this event, which is Disrupt. This definitely describes that you need to be on the cutting edge and improve the technology and procedure around things that we did in the past to make it easier and more simplified for our customers. And that's exactly what Universal Print can do for you. So let's look a little bit to the past. So as you can see here in some screenshots, and you probably have been doing it yourself, creating a Windows Server environment, install the print server role, add all your drivers to that print server, and eventually publish that printer to your virtual desktops. And after that, all those errors came along because you had to have all those print drivers for the exact same version and operating system available inside that golden image, which added a lot of extra management overhead in terms of image management, etc. So it's definitely some of those errors that you can see here remind me of my times when I was still an IT admin back in the days. So let's take a sneak peek into the future, and the future is basically now. And that's something you can achieve with Universal Print, because with Universal Print you eliminate the need for different print drivers. So you have one Universal Print driver inside your image, and that connects your virtual cloud desktops to the cloud, to the Universal Print service in the cloud. And that's all happening via one single driver. So very easy, no need to open up your image every month or so to upgrade the printer driver to make it possible to print. So from that level, a very easy way to do so. Another great thing is that Universal Print is completely supported with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So Microsoft Endpoint Manager is a service which you can use to publish printers to your endpoints, to your Windows 10 virtual desktops and as well physical desktops. So a very unified management experience for that. So as you can see on the right side, everything runs in the cloud, and all your print jobs are sort of like spooling in the cloud to the Office Data Storage Service, and that's the cloud service that you use as well for example, your Office data and as well your OneDrive data, for example. And everything is possible to use with the Microsoft Graph APIs. So you can leverage like your own solution on top of that, or leverage a partner solution on top of that you can use for managing and maintaining your printers from an API separate control plane perspective, for example. That's all possible. And if you look on the downside of this picture, you see, of course, your virtual cloud desktops, but as well a universal print ready printer. And what is a universal print ready printer? A universal print ready printer is a printer that can connect directly from the print software to the printer, to the cloud universal print cloud service. So you don't have to have any connectors or whatsoever in the on-premises environment to do so. All the connectivity happens over the internet, so no need to forward ports or whatsoever. It all happens over the protocol of universal print over the network. And if you have a printer that is not universal print ready, you can connect to the universal print service while using the universal print connector. That's a connector that you can install on your local endpoint or on a server, and that is sort of the bridge between your on-prem network or your cloud, your private cloud network, and as well the universal print service. So a very easy way, and therefore it's aligning as well with zero trust principles, because you don't have to have any ports open or whatsoever. You can just connect from your local network location over the internet to the universal print service. So it's as well supported for location detection. So if you have, for example, a printer in building number 1 in like a city, and you have your printer connected with like the coordinates, or as well based on GPS location detection, and your endpoint, your Windows 10 client, your physical endpoint, your laptop has as well the GPS enabled, it sees that printer and it follows you along. So you have then always the default printer selected, which belongs to your physical office, when we can go back to the physical office, of course, which hopefully happens later this year. And just to emphasize again, no infrastructure is needed on-prem if you have a universal print ready printer, and no additional license costs are needed, because most of the customers already have the license that is needed for universal print. So I'm going to explain later on at the end of this presentation more about that. So I already remind you in the beginning of this presentation, okay, is printing still important? And as part of the VDI Like a Pro survey preliminary results of 2021, which I'm doing together with Ruben and Mark, we asked the question, which solutions do you currently use or in the near future use for printing within your virtual apps and desktops environment? And as you can see here, the Microsoft Universal Print Service is one of those initiatives that customers and people in the community want to leverage to simplify how they do regular print server deployments, or their existing environment that is based on a regular print server environment, which is very complex. So great thing that acknowledged again that printing is still important as part of your virtual desktop environment. So I already talked in the architecture slide how you can connect to the universal print service. So let's just rephrase it again. With a universal print ready printer like a Lexmark or Brother printer or Canon printer, you can connect directly from the software to the universal print service. So a very easy way to do so. No needs for a printer connector. So that's the best way to configure it and connect, of course. But if you have a printer that doesn't support universal print, then you can install the universal print connector on-prem too, on your physical endpoint. So all kinds of methods to make your use case possible to connect and to use universal print. So one thing before I start explaining how you can configure universal print yourself, before you start, you need to have hybrid Azure AD configured as part of your identity configuration as part of Azure AD Connect. So make sure that your virtual desktop, your Windows virtual desktop environment is hybrid Azure AD joined, because otherwise it doesn't work. And in the future, once we support fully native Azure AD, that works of course too. So let's get started and explain you a little bit how that connector process works around if you have a printer that is not universal print ready. So you just install the universal print connector you click on log on, and you log on with your Azure AD credentials. And that could be an Azure AD credential of a user that has the printer operator role assigned. Once you're ready with that, you register that endpoint as a connector. So you can give it a name for the connector and then click on register here, and then it registers that connector up to the Universal Print service. So once you are done with that, you need to change the setting from off to on in terms of the enable hybrid AD configuration. And you can see here that your printers on your endpoint on the machine where you install the connector on are being detected automatically here. So you have to select this printer and then click on register, and then the registration will happen inside the Universal Print service. And that's basically all you need to do to use your HP OfficeJet 4620 series printer inside your Windows Virtual Desktop environment, for example. So how does that look from an IT admin Azure Portal perspective? So let's start with a demo and show you how the Azure Portal integration within Universal Print works, and as well the end user experience. So how you can add a printer manually inside your Windows 10 virtual machine, and how you can do a test print, for example. So first of all, when you start like configuring Universal Print and you had you have installed the Universal Print connector, or you connected with the Universal Print Ready printer to the service, you have to switch to the Microsoft Azure portal, and here you can see Universal Print as a service in the Azure portal. And here you can see the printers and as well the connectors directly visible once you did that installation. So here you can see my print connector that runs from a Windows 10 Enterprise machine. And you can see as well that my printer is being shared. So this is my printer that I have at home, and that's connected via that print connector because my home printer is not Universal Print ready yet. And here you can give access to that printer to either a single user or Azure AD group, or you can allow printing for all users in your organization at once. So once you're ready with that, you log on to your virtual desktop, Windows Virtual Desktop environment. You click on Add a Printer or Scanner, and as you can see here, Universal Print will pop up. So it searches for Universal Print for printers, and here you see my printer connected from the cloud with the cloud icon here. So I click on Add Device, and now the printer from the cloud from Universal Print will be added via that Universal driver to my Windows 10 environment. So it is being added here, and it shows you to set it ready, and now you can open the print queue or go to manage. You can print a test page here, and once you do that, it prints a page to the cloud, and as you can see, it flows out of my printer here. So that's just a normal Windows test page that flows out of my printer. You can see it here sending the test page to the Universal Print service. But as you switch back to the Universal Print service, you can see in print jobs that the test page is being sent to the printer, copies and processes, and as well completes the print job as part of the Universal Print service. So a great way to, as I said earlier, simplify how you do printing, because you just add your printers to your virtual desktops and then you print to the cloud without the need for spinning up a print server and maintaining all those drivers. So really easy way to do so. And I showed you how you can add a printer manually inside your Windows Virtual Desktop, Windows 10 virtual machine. But what about doing this on enterprise scale? So that's where the Microsoft Endpoint Manager integration for Universal Print kicks in, because Universal Print is supported within Microsoft Endpoint Manager too, as I showed you in the architecture slide. So first, before you start configuring Microsoft Endpoint Manager for Universal Print, you need to collect the print share name and the share ID of your printers that you want to share. And you need to create a CSV file that lists the share ID, share name, and whether the printer needs to be a default printer or not in this CSV file. And once you're done with that, you need to wrap this file into an Intune WinFile package, so Win32 package, which you can do with the content prep tool. It's a relatively easy task to do. And once you're ready with that, you can switch to the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center, configure an app. So you just click on add, and then you add a line of business application, a Win32 application, to add your printers to your Windows Virtual Desktop environment. You give it a name for that job, so you can call it install HP printers or whatever you want, and a publisher name. You give it a package name that you just created, which includes that CSV file. And once you're ready with that, you enter in the install command here, and as well the uninstall command. So you can add printers, but you can as well remove them via Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and as well the dependency. So which architecture, operating system architecture version, so 32 or 64 bits should be used, or the build of Windows 10. All kinds of enterprise ready requirements that you can set to do so. And as well the detection rule to make sure that the deployment of your printers has happened successfully. After that, you configure as well the filtering, so which Azure AD group or user or all users perhaps need to receive this printer. And then you review your settings, and then you click on save, and then your printers are being published to your end users, all automatically via the Intune agent on the back. So a relatively easy way to publish your printers via Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So I hear you thinking, what about partners, right? So I already explained you that with a Universal Print Ready printer, you can connect directly from the printer itself to the Universal Print service. So with that Universal Print Ready printer, you don't have a connector that I just explained. That's more for printers that are not Universal Print Ready. So for example, your own inkjet printer at home. So here you can see some of those hardware partners that we have. So Brother, Konica Minolta, HP, Lexmark, Canon, all hardware partners that support Universal Print from within the printer itself. And there are some other partners too, like the OmniBridge, and that's something I explain in some next slides, that can bridge all your printers on-prem at once and bridge that to the Universal Print service. So I hear you saying hardware partners, how does that work then? So from a configuration perspective. So let's show you the experience of configuring a Universal Print via Lexmark printer that is Universal Print Ready. And this is, by the way, an episode that we recorded with the PMs of Universal Print as part of the Desktops in the Clouds video podcast that are run together with Dean Safola. So here you see a Lexmark settings screen. And if you go to the settings screen and then network ports, and you go a little bit down there, you see the option to connect to Universal Print as part of the printer settings of this Lexmark printer. So if you click on register here and you copy the registration code, it opens up an Azure AD registration screen, as you can see here. You log on with your printer administrator account or your printer operator account, and then you can register that Lexmark printer into the Universal Print service. And then if you switch back to the Universal Print service in Azure, you can see that the Lexmark printer is being added directly into the Universal Print service. It's not being shared yet, and that's something you can easily do by clicking on share and follow the same steps that I just explained in the demo previously. So what are the alternatives to that? So I already explained the connector process as well as the Universal Print process, but there is another alternative, and I already alluded to that a little bit in the partner slide. So with the iSoft Universal Print 365 bridge, you can connect all your printers as well to this bridge, and then connect this bridge, register this bridge to the Universal Print service. So this is sort of your one hop bridge inside your network that connects all your legacy printers that are not supported with Universal Print, so they are not Universal Print ready, to the Universal Print service. So that's an alternative that you can use to do so too. So great solution to modernize your legacy printers to the Universal Print service to leverage those benefits, those service benefits that I just explained. So what do you need for Universal Print? So in the left bucket you see the licensing requirements for Universal Print. So most likely you already have licenses for Universal Print, so no additional investment. So you can just kick the tires based on your existing licenses and start using this service. So M365, E3, E5, F3, as well as Windows 10 Enterprise, M365 Education is supported, A3 and A5, M365 Business Premium, and then you're all set. And especially for the education space, this is a great service to use because, printing is still happening quite often in schools, for example. So here are some technical requirements. So Windows 10 version 1903 or later is needed. Azure Active Directory is needed, as I said, in hybrid or in Azure AD only. Windows Server is not needed but is supported. And if you want to kick the tires and try this service out, you can go to ak.ms/try now, and then you can request a trial license and use it. And as I said earlier, this service will release into GA very soon. So I hope this made you excited too, because I'm very excited about this technology, and it really goes into that digital transformation journey to help customers to simplify things that they did in the past in a traditional way, now in a more modern way. So if you're interested in learning more and take a deeper dive into the Universal Print service, so we had previously, as I said earlier in some screenshots, the PMs, the program managers of the Universal Print service on our Desktops in the Cloud episode. So feel free to look that up through this QR code that brings you directly to that episode. Oh no, I was not expecting this. I don't know, just joking. So thank you guys for joining. I hope to see you very soon at a physical event to catch up, have a great chat with you, and enjoy the rest of the Disrupt event. Thank you very much.